All right. How's it going, everyone? Brad Sarver here. It is 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Thank you for joining us. It's Sunday night. It is Labor Day weekend, so props to you if you're on here. Normally, Sunday nights, we have our BYOB, Be Your Own Boss training with Ryan Bradshaw and Mallory Sundin. But tonight, being that it's Labor Day and Ryan has, his full-time job, he's got something going on. We're taking the night off from BYOB, but we wanted to do something very special that I'm very excited about, kind of a different concept, a different kind of thing that maybe sometimes we don't always cover in network marketing, and that is the concept of sales and how oftentimes you'll hear kind of a cliche in network marketing, oh, we don't sell anything, we just share. And while we do share, really that statement is untrue, and it's kind of gotten a little, I don't know, it's become somewhat of a pet peeve of mine over the last year or so that I want to really start, working with everyone on the team and everyone in the world in general, educating people on sales. What does it really mean? How sales is actually a great, wonderful thing. It's nothing to be scared of. It's nothing to run from. It's actually something to be embraced. And in my opinion, it's one of the most valuable skills for the future economy. In other words, if you can learn the ability to sell, you're always going to have a skill to provide yourself an income. And that's really what I wanted to cover tonight, but it's really not going to be what I'm going to cover. I actually have brought on a very good friend of mine, a very good friend of my family, a wonderful guy and a loyal VEMA affiliate, an executive leader from Kansas City. This gentleman, Reg Pincombe, as I said, he's an executive leader, has spent, though, I don't want to age you, Reg, but decades in the sales world, and he has just had some incredible success and success in the industry and in all types of different businesses, but mainly sales. And not only has he been successful at that, but he was also a trainer for the Dale Carnegie sales school, I guess you could call it, and I'll let him kind of, talk about that if he wants to, but I'm very excited. I'm really encouraging you guys to take a second, grab a pen, grab some paper, grab a notebook, grab your computer to take some notes. We're going to have this hangout. It's going to be recorded only for the next 24 hours. So if you find this information valuable, I encourage you to share it with a lot of other people in the next 24 hours. Yeah, it's Labor Day, but guys, who cares? We're working. This is a VEMA business, and it's not a 9-to-5. So, with that said, very excited for you guys to hear from Reg Pincombe. As I said, this gentleman, really great friend of ours, and just phenomenal information. So, Reg, I'm gonna throw this thing to you. I'm gonna let you share with our team. I'll be here. I know we're gonna do some interactive stuff, so I'll be on here and I'm listening and I'll be interacting with you, but I'll let you take it away, Reg. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Brad. That is absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so proud of the stuff that you're doing with your group and the development that has taken place over the last couple of years is unbelievable. And yeah, talking about sales, that's an interesting subject because so many people get jaundiced over the word sales, and it's probably because at some point in their life they bought a car from somebody that didn't treat them right or whatever. But a lot of people thought that as the internet became more effective and more part of everybody's day-to-day life, that the life of the salesman would die, and that's really not true. In fact, there was a study done at the University of Pennsylvania that said that out of 10 people, 6 out of 10 are selling all the time. Two out of that have sales in their job title, and the other 4 are people like doctors, for instance. One of the greatest salespeople on the earth is a doctor. And the reason I say that is the doctor convinces you that he's going to cut into your hip and put a replacement in there, and you nod your head okay if you think I need it. Or if you have some operation, he's going to switch kidneys for you. I mean, talk about a salesman. Anybody can convince you to do that's got to be good. Well, what does he do? What does he actually do? What he does is he convinces you of the value you're going to receive as a result of it. And it's been proven in many studies that 98% of the reason people don't buy is because they don't recognize the value to them. And so it's all about value. Well, how do you do that? Well, it starts with leadership. What is leadership? Well, let's talk about that just for a minute or two. Leadership is a skill, not a genetic trait. And so many people say, oh, well, I'm not a salesman, I'm not a salesman. Well, first of all, we all have the opportunity to be absolutely great in sales, because sales is really the art of communicating. And communicating is your ability to influence. Okay, well, there's a lot of people that communicate and they talk, but they don't connect. Well, how do we develop that ability to connect? Well, what sales really is two subconscious minds on a common path to an end result common and acceptable to both. That's all it is. And so many people get all wound up in, what do we do? How do we say this? And they'll say to me, Reg, well, what do I say in this case? Or what do I say in that case? Well, I can't tell you. And the reason I can't tell you is because as human beings, we package information in the fashion we believe the other person will accept. Okay, so if I were telling my wife a story about something, it would actually be the same story I would tell my kids, but it would be in a different package. And so you can think back of many of situations in your own life, how you would tell your friends something, the same story, but in a little different fashion, you would tell your parents. Okay, so really you're packaging that information the fashion you believe the other person will accept. Okay, well, as we step into this whole sales arena, how do you get two subconscious minds on a common path to an end result, common and acceptable to both? Well, the first is you have to take their subconscious mind from where it is right now, because there's so much busy and so much clutter out there. How do you stop and have them focus on you? Okay, well, really it breaks down into 4 basic steps. And those 4 steps are interest, conviction, desire, and close. Okay, so how do we do that? Interest. Well, how do you develop that interest? And so you do it by verbalizing something to them that they perhaps would not have in their conscious mind. They would have to look to their subconscious mind to find it. Okay, so what would that sound like? Well, that would sound like I may ask you the question, Brad, have you ever felt that you were really destined for something greater? Okay, you got to think about that. And so that may be a question that you would ask. Is health important to you? There's many questions you could ask, but and the key is that you keep in mind that the question that you ask, you want to stop their subconscious mind from where it's at right now, texting, doing this, doing that, all these things. You want them to stop and focus on you, because now once they're focused on you, the first was the interest. Okay, so if I ask that question, Brad, have you ever felt that that you were destined for something greater? And your answer would be yes, let's say. If it's no, then your conversation's done, because what you have to offer is going to take them places they've never been. And so if they're not interested in going, you know, if somebody said, hey, do you want to go to Hawaii, and that was the last place they ever wanted to go, or they were scared to get on an airplane, there's no sense trying to sell them on a room at a hotel in Hawaii, because it isn't going to happen. So you really have to look at that. And so if the answer was yes, then conviction is really the art of asking questions. And so when you're asking the question, and if you said, yes, I really do feel like I'm destined for something greater, my question to you then would be, for instance, something greater. What would you mean by that? Would that be something like financially? Would that be your health? Would it be influencing others? And so I would ask these questions and have you give me the answer, because the answer that you give me is really how I'm going to move forward in that conversation. Okay, so as an example, let's just go through an exercise of asking questions. And so if you will role play with me just a little bit, there's what, and I'm not a card player, I have to tell you. There's 4 suits in the deck. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. They are hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs. Choose one of those and tell me which one you chose.
I'm going to choose the diamonds.
Diamonds? So that's one of the red ones, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So then what's the other red one?
That would be hearts.
Hearts. Okay. So hey, let's in the suit of hearts, there's number cards and face cards. Choose one of those and tell me which one you chose.
I'm gonna choose the Queen of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts. Okay. Now you and I have honestly, we have never had this conversation before, have we?
No.
Okay. I'm going to show you something. Have I got it the right way up?
It's backwards.
It's backwards. Okay. So what if I go that way?
Perfect.
Can you see it? It says the Queen of Hearts. Oh,
yes.
Okay. So how did that happen? Because we had never talked before, we never rehearsed this, and yet you went to the Queen of Hearts. You went there by choice. I kept giving you choices that led you there. And so let's say that you would have said the Jack of Hearts. I would have said, that's one of the face cards. What are the other ones? Well, they're Queen, King, and Ace. Choose one and tell me which one you chose. If you'd have chose Heart or the King, I would have said that leaves us the Queen and the Ace. Choose one and tell me which one you chose. If you chose the Ace, I'd have said that leaves us with what? The Queen. You're going to end up at the Queen because I'm asking you questions that guide you there.
Wow.
Okay. Well, if you open your conversation with someone and you said to them, have you ever felt like you were destined for something greater? And they said yes, and you said financially, and they said yes. Well, now that takes you into the really the next step, because now you're asking them questions financially, like how much money are you talking? Like how much money would you like to make? Is health important to you? And they say, yeah, health is important to me. I'd like to make an extra, well, even if I could make $1,000 a month, it would make a difference. Okay, well, now, in this example, the Queen of Hearts is the Vima product, the Vima business. Okay, well, your questions, they were what they were at, or what you had asked them was financially, is it important? And they said yes. Okay, so now basically you want to have them, you want to take them from where they are now and paint a picture subconsciously of them already arrived at the nice place they talked about. So when you were asking them questions about how much money, what would you like to, would you be interested in driving, this kind of thing. So now you say, picture this, Brad. Here you are 3 years from now. You're sitting with some of your friends and you say to them, life's been pretty good to me. In actual fact, I've booked a ticket to Hawaii, and I actually am going to run down to the local pizza house. Would a couple of you guys like to go with me? The company just bought me a new car. It happens to be a Mercedes, and it's got Vima on the side of it. Is that the kind of picture that you think you could be in? Can you picture yourself there? And so what you've really done is you've communicated with them effectively in being able to step them through that whole process. Okay, so now when they say, hey, yeah, that, you know what? Hey, if Vima's going to give me a car, I'd be interested in that. If they're going to give me $1,000 a month, I'd be interested in that. Well, now is when you introduce who said so besides you. Okay, what is that? That is evidence from a third party. We do it in networking all the time, where we say, you know, let me connect you to Brad. He knows more than I know. Let me connect you to Cynthia, to Dan, to Kathy. Okay, the reason we do that is for third-party validation. So what I would probably do, depending on the individual, is I would say, let's take just 3-4 minutes, and I'm going to play the video of the manufacturing of a product that I think is phenomenal. And don't say anything more. Plug in the manufacturing, and when they run through that, now they can see that this is not just a Mickey Mouse thing. This is major. And so how do I become a part of that? Okay, now you've anchored that dream. I can see myself in that dream, and it's real. Okay, so now by this time, they're probably saying to you, well, how do I get started? What do I do? Okay, remember we had interest, conviction, desire, and close. When they say, well, how can I get involved in something like this? Well, actually, you know what? If they would sell shares in this company, that would be the company to buy shares in. But it's privately owned. It's only 3% of network marketing companies worldwide are privately owned, which is phenomenal. This one is also debt-free. But the way you can get involved in it, you can get involved as a customer or as an affiliate. And you talked about earning income, and so, hey, let's start as an affiliate. And then you just carry on the conversation from there. So what you've really done is you have then taken the two subconscious minds on a common path to an end result common and acceptable to both. Well, what was that? That stemmed from you stopping their subconscious mind from texting and all the other things they had going on, and you did it by simply saying to them, have you ever felt like you were destined for something greater? Okay, we have now gone through that whole psychology of that whole buying and selling process. And remember, always, the person asking the question is the person that controls the conversation. Okay, first thing somebody's going to say to you when you start, or I shouldn't say the first thing, the thing that a lot of people come to me and say is they get an objection about price, or they get an objection about you know, the clinical studies, things like that. Remember, the only objection that you personally get on an ongoing basis is the one you subconsciously have never dealt with yourself. You have not convinced yourself subconsciously that the price is right. So when somebody says to me, which I don't get that objection because I haven't got a problem with it, but if I got the objection, boy, that's pretty expensive, my first comment, the first thing out of my mouth is, and I'm taking control of the conversation again, is compared to what? Compared to what? It's too expensive compared to what? Well, and now they have to start answering. So often we jump into a situation where we start to defend why it is what it is, when you don't even know where they're coming from. They may have never bought an energy drink in their life. They may be talking about soda or a bottle of water for $1. Okay, well, there's a whole lot of difference between a bottle of water and a Verve. And so that gives you the opportunity then to start talking about the value, because unless people understand the value you bring to the conversation or to them, they're probably not going to buy. They're probably not going to move forward in that motion. So that's just a quick overview. There's so many things I would just love to tell you about that talk about body language and how you can read where people are in this whole buying and selling process. But we'll leave that for another time. So, Brad, I throw it back to you.
Thank you, Reg. So just to kind of go back over what I think, the two things that I really took away was the questions that you're asking. They're leading somewhere. When you're asking questions, the art of asking questions, it's not just, oh, how about them Royals? I mean, it's like you're asking questions with the, we have to be in control. And I loved that you wrote down Queen of Hearts before I even said Queen of Hearts. I mean, that's where you were leading me to. That's amazing. And then just, so many things you've said to me over the last couple of weeks about sales, but that last thing that you said that I love is just compared to what? I mean, these questions, when you become a asker of questions and you, like you said, then they have to start explaining where they're coming from. That's a phenomenal piece of information right there. Just that one little nugget compared to what? If we can teach people to just ask that one question, that right there could change someone's entire business that's been screwing up that objection. So I really thank you. I think we probably could do this again, another training with you where we could get into body language and how big that is. That's been revolutionary for me over the last couple of weeks, talking about how body language is 60%, your tone of voice is 34%, and the words that you say are only 6% of sales. That's amazing. So I'm excited, Reg. Thank you so much. Very valuable. And I know you're up in Iowa, and there's a tornado warning in the midst of all this. So thank you for jumping on.
We're all headed for the basement.
All right, well, that's your commitment level, man. Even in a tornado warning, you're still doing BEMA. So,
hey, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thanks so much, and everybody out there, have a very, very safe holiday.
Yes. Thank you, Reg. We'll see you back in Kansas City. Good night, everyone, and we'll BYOB tomorrow night, and we'll promote that too. Have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.